Cray-cray, like whip nay-nay?
What's cray?
Yeah, it's cray-cray.
nay.
Donald Trump is just a godsend for social media. You realize this, right?
Yes.
They love him
Yeah,
and they hate him. They love to hate him. They hate to love him. It's all that. So Trump's speech that he gives, he always says, hey, we have big companies like GE, like Ford. They're building a new plant, $2 billion plant in Mexico. He's been saying that on the campaign trail everywhere he goes. So the question was that I posed on social media was, is it just a lucky coincidence that Ford is now building its $2 billion plant in Ohio instead of Mexico? Or did the Donald make this happen, yeah, right, on the campaign trail when he relentlessly called out Ford for taking jobs away from America and shipping them to Mexico, which he did. He relentlessly did that. Every single speech he did that. So all I did was ask 2 questions, posted the link to the story, and what people are commenting is just hilarious. I mean, it's perfect. It shows you perfectly that people hear what they want to hear. People read and see what they want to see. You want me to tell you my favorite comment on the Trump post?
Sure.
I had to unhide it because there's a curse word in it. And he says, it's from Alex something, he says, come tell me when his own shit is made in the U.S. again.
Ooh.
I think that's great. Yeah, and then I had to call out one guy in particular. He was like, come on, smarter San Diego, you're going to have to change your name if you're going to post crap like this. And he goes on, blah, blah, blah. Because the bottom line is it's going to be Trump or Hillary. You realize that, right? So, who's for Hillary? Really?
I don't know.
I mean, goodness gracious.
I really haven't heard that many people who are for Hillary. But, I mean, she's doing so, but she's a politician. She knows what she's doing. Her husband used to be president.
Oh,
so
she's a major politician.
She knows exactly how to get the votes.
Let's see, how you feeling about introductions today? Good?
Yeah, I think I'm doing okay. The first one seemed like a mouthful, but it's okay. It's a very exciting segment.
Those are your boys right there.
Those are my boys. I brought them here, yep.
Which is
I haven't
really
met
cool.
the CEO.
Oh, you haven't met Don?
No, I haven't.
So
this will be my first time meeting him. I've heard, obviously, amazing things.
Yeah, I mean, he's a really, really smart and really nice guy. Yeah. The trouble is just going to be trying to keep him to the time limit and get everything in, because it's a very long story.
A lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's a long story. I mean, they've basically invented something that can reduce pollution emissions dramatically. The Surf Film Festival people.
I'm excited about that.
It's a cute thing. Like, they made it a full-time gig, husband and wife, they run it. Now it's like a big deal, and they're doing really well with it. Who would have thought you could start a film festival and make a living?
Yeah.
I don't know. They figured it out. I have a lot of questions for them about that.
Well, it's a surf film festival, and they're in the right place for that.
They're in the right place for that. That's true. And, of course, we have a piece. Jade's piece is going to be on the Surf Film Festival. So we'll see if we can get him to jump in here today. What do you think? What do you think the chances are? Get him on camera.
Pretty slim.
Slim and none?
But yeah, maybe he will.
I don't know.
Maybe he'll come around.
He was dressed up a little bit, so I have a feeling it might not be that hard compared to normal. All right. Are you ready? Should we get him?
Sure.
We'll go check. Let's go check. I think they're ready. Our next guest has invented an incredible technology that will reduce emissions by a staggering amount for anything that runs on a diesel engine. Please welcome to the show the CEO of H&O Green Fuels, Don Owens. All right. Let's go get him.
Okay.
This is Smarter San Diego TV.
Don, what's
Great
up,
to
man?
have you here.
How are you?
All right, great to have you. For like Frank Solomon,
Yeah.
you could break your back in a foreign country and then climb it.
Yep. Plus you got the interest on top of that.
She got the interest.
So what you're saying is I should be company Manzon.
Oh, this is me. Yeah, get it on right here.
That's important to me, so I think it's probably important to our buyer demographic as well.
Okay. Well, who would that be?
Our next guest has created some incredible technology that reduces emissions by a staggering amount for anything that runs on diesel engine. Today he is here talking about this invention for the very first time. Please welcome the CEO of H&O Green Fuels, Don Owens.
There he is.
Thank you very much.
Don, what's
Great
up,
to
man?
have you here.
How are you? How are you?
All right, great to have you. So this is it, man.
This is it. That's it. Actually, what we've done is we've taken, diesel engines create an enormous amount of bad stuff that harms human beings. And what we've done is we've created a device that actually reduces the emissions in diesel engines by almost 50%, but also produces oxygen in the process of reducing these emissions.
This is so mind-boggling that you were able to create something like this. I think for people who don't know just how many diesel engines there are running around out there,
oh my God.
Anytime you see a Volkswagen TDI, TDI stands for turbo diesel, right? Turbo diesel injection, turbo diesel injection, or something like that. It's a diesel.
It's a diesel, right?
Even though it's a little bitty sedan, it's a diesel.
It's a diesel, right?
Huge trucks, semi-trucks, huge boats, they run on these diesel engines.
Yep.
And the challenge with the diesel engine is that in idle, it's extremely inefficient.
Right.
So in idle, it's very pollutant.
That's right. Exactly right.
And there's so many of these engines out there. You've actually come up with your solution. This is the one that would fix the Volkswagen.
Right.
Right.
Potentially, that's the one that can fix the Volkswagen, but it's also adaptable to work on just about anything. Anything that burns diesel fuel, this concept can work on, from the little Volkswagens to the big cargo ships that come into the ports, and
And this is the very beginning. So this is, when we say it's your coming out party, literally no one knows. You've been doing this in secret until now.
Right, right.
Volkswagen doesn't know until they see this. All the big bargers, the manufacturers, they don't know until they see this.
Right.
Nobody knows that you've come up with this, that you've
Right.
figured out what to do. What is it that you figured out? How are you able to reduce the emissions by 50% for diesel engines?
Okay, now, and in fact, it was kind of an accident because it didn't start off as reducing emissions for diesel engines. But when we got into testing, we found that we had some very inconsistent results for gasoline engines. But one day we decided to test diesels, and the fuel economy was what I was looking for, was not that great. But in fact, I thought the test was kind of a failure. But the technician afterwards came up to me and said, "Hey, Don, by the way, do you know that this thing reduced your emissions by almost 50%? I said, what kind of emissions? He said, particulate matter emissions. I said, particulate matter? What's particulate matter? And then I went back and looked at it up on the internet and found out the particulate matter was more important than the fuel economy. So we've discovered this, and it uses a catalyst. And the catalyst actually makes the combustion in the combustion chamber work better. Okay. So the combustion is a little bit more efficient, a lot more efficient, in fact, so that the particulate matter, which is unburned fuel, doesn't come out in the large quantities that it normally comes out. But what happens is because no combustion engine can burn 100% of the fuel. It's just impossible. But what we do is, because we add a catalyst to the combustion chamber, we end up making that engine, that same old engine that burns very inefficiently initially, to burn it a lot more efficiently. So the particulate matter, or the unburned fuel, is reduced drastically.
Wow. So the overall pollutants are just reduced dramatically with this invention that no one has heard about until right now.
Right.
And how long have you been working on this?
I've been working on it now for about 7 years. I think I got started when my little daughter was born. And so it's about 7 years, and it was in the garage, of course. That's where everything starts. You can't do anything but in the garage. but we just really came out with a product. We just finally have a product, because it was years and years of development, and we really didn't know where it was headed. We accidentally discovered the oxygen part of it, which was, we think is going to be a huge benefit, because...
Yeah, let's talk about that again, because not only does this reduce the emissions and the pollution, but it actually somehow puts oxygen into the atmosphere?
Yeah, it puts oxygen into the atmosphere just like a tree, just like a leaf. In fact, that's the reason why it's called LEAF. We wanted the acronym to say what a leaf does. And what a leaf does is produce oxygen. It takes carbon dioxide from the air and water from the ground, and it produces oxygen. What we do is we take water, and we make hydrogen, which is the catalyst for the engine. But then, in the process of doing that, the water produces oxygen, and oxygen goes into the air.
So what does LEAF actually, what is the acronym?
LEAF? LEAF actually means leveraging energy efficient fuel with hydrogen.
Okay.
And that's what LEAF is. And we call it LEAF because I didn't want to call it anything hydrogen, because it really is a leaf. It really is a leaf because it produces oxygen.
Right.
and which is the beautiful side effect, of the,
Cherry on the top.
Yeah,
It's a big cherry on the
right.
top.
It's a big cherry on the top.
So because you're taking water, so you use water, and then you separate the hydrogen and the oxygen
Right.
of the water, the H2O.
Right.
You take the hydrogen, you use that in this machine, inject it into the engine,
Right.
makes it more efficient, and then the byproduct of that separation is the oxygen, which gets released into the atmosphere.
Exactly right.
It's incredible. It's just incredible.
That, yeah, it really
Yeah,
is
we-
amazing.
We could literally, and in fact, anything that burns fuel should have this, because if we can improve the combustion, we end up producing oxygen at the same time.
Right.
So you can produce billions and billions of tons of oxygen, billions. Now I don't know what the effect that will be on our planet, but I have reasons to suspect it doesn't hurt.
Yes.
So the fact that we don't, the fact that we can reduce emissions so drastically and produce oxygen, it can only be a positive.
It's a huge positive. I mean, I just, we look at the rate at which the forests are being torn down. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally, it's like an acre a minute or something like that. It's hard to fathom.
Yeah, it's hard to fathom. Yeah.
We need oxygen, man.
We need oxygen, and
We
this
need it
thing
desperately.
it can produce oxygen. And literally everything that burns fuel should have this, because it can produce oxygen. If it burns fuel, if it's combustion, it should be producing oxygen. Why not?
Let me ask you something here, Don. I'm on board.
Okay.
I get
Yeah.
it. This makes sense. I realize you've just now finally got a product together after all the research, all the R&D that you guys have done over the last 7 years. You finally have a product. Do you have multiple products? How is this thing going to launch? Are you going to launch with the small one first and then go bigger, or several at the same time?
Well, we have another model that we're going to be targeting a different size engine. That's for the smaller engines. We have another engine class, 6 to 8 liter engines that another model does. But we're going to start with that. That includes things like buses, school buses, tow trucks, some of the mid-range diesel engines. But it's so many diesel engines out there. It's just hard to imagine. So the market is just humongous, but we have to start somewhere. So we're going to start with the 6 to 8 liter engines. But the concept can work on anything. I just found out recently that some of these big cargo ships, when they're sitting in these ports idling, they produce the equivalent of 40,000 vehicles. 40,000, just one ship. But something like this can go on an engine like that and reduce some of those emissions at idle.
I think
So
that's,
it can.
honestly, that's a huge part of this, because those big tankers do run on enormous diesel engines.
Right.
Enormous. I mean, engines that are bigger than this studio.
Right. That's right. That's right. That's
true.
right. They're absolutely correct.
And when they're idling, they just must be terribly inefficient.
They are horribly inefficient. And we found in our testing that just on the testing that we did on a 10 liter engine, that we had a 12% reduction in fuel usage at idle, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But that's because it's the most inefficient time that a diesel engine runs, and we can, by using this technology, we can make that time a more efficient time, and we can reduce the fuel usage at the same time.
And produce oxygen.
And produce oxygen.
Anything else? Does it shoot out a slice of toast?
Yeah,
that's
right.
like just perfectly crisped as well?
No, not
PB&J?
quite. We're looking to make that happen.
Okay, that's next. Don, how do I get on board with something like this? I mean, I know, we almost got there last time you were here, but I mean, honestly, how does a guy like me or someone out there watching the show invest in this organization or in making something like this happen?
Well, one of the things we are truly looking for is people that can embrace what we're trying to do. We know we have reasons to suspect this can really help the planet, and a lot of people want to help the planet, but we also need to have people that can embrace what we're doing, that can bring in all the right components, all the right pieces, all the right people, so that we can put everything together so that we can get it everywhere.
Yeah.
But obviously I have a small company and people can invest, but I don't want to talk about investment because that's not, I don't know if you can run into other issues, legal issues with investing and promoting investing because it's a private company right now. It's not a public company.
So the short answer is no, I can't invest in the company. Sorry, bro. This is too big to let you in.
No. But no, at the same time, let me just tell you how we built the company. We actually built the company on a friends and family basis. Everything we've been able to do is because I started off with a small group that turned into a larger group, that turned into a larger group, that turned into a larger group. And it's just regular people with regular amounts of money. So in a way, you can invest, but I don't want to promote investing.
Sure.
But you can't.
Well, this is my investment right here. This is
Yeah.
we're having you on the show. We're gonna get this out there. I'll tell you what, man. If you took this thing on Shark Tank,
I was just thinking
and
the
you
same
didn't
thing.
have the sharks just fist fighting
Yeah.
over the opportunity to get involved with something like this, I mean, I would be shocked.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing story. Don, you're doing great work. I'll do anything I can to help you. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank
Really
you,
appreciate
Dad.
your time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Commercial free.
Our next guests are the founders of the San Diego Surf Film Festival. Please welcome Pierce and Petra Kavanagh, and also welcome our producer and one of 40 officially selected filmmakers, Jade Deyoe.
Close.
Close. How long have we been working together now?
I'm an executive producer.
Well, welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, all
Thank you.
including the producer of the show.
Yeah.
How are you there?
Thank you.
How's all this
I don't
happening?
know. I wound up here. I don't know. I don't know how I got here.
Amazing. I have lots of questions for you two as well. Obviously, you guys are a couple.
Yes.
You produced the San Diego Surf Film Festival full time. It's a full time gig for you guys.
Pretty much is a year-round gig now.
That's crazy. Who would have thought you could produce a film festival and make a life out of it? That's really amazing.
would've thunk
Congratulations. Yeah, who would have thunk it?
We're pretty excited. It's a fun gig, I guess.
Yeah, now this is coming up May 18th through the 28th. So it's not just like a one-time event thing. This is like a week and a half of stuff that's going on. So what happens over this 11 days of the festival?
It was first 4 days for the first 4 years, but it was way too much packed into just a short amount of time. So we wanted people to come and be able to relax and enjoy San Diego. So we've incorporated an 11-day schedule that highlights a lot of really fun things to do while you're here, so you don't just have to see films. So it's really going towards from a film festival to more of just an open festival to celebrate San Diego.
Okay, so this is not really a San Diego, like a local event. This is like an international event, or
It's definitely an international event, but it celebrates San Diego. Like, we both were born and raised here, so we put on the festival to invite international filmmakers from around the world to come and highlight their films for our local crowd.
Gotcha. Okay. And so you get, I imagine at this point, you have a lot of people who are saying, hey, I made a film, here's my short, here's this, here's that. I mean, do you keep track of how many entries they are, or do you just know, okay, we're going to select this many? This is all that we can fit into this
Oh
thing.
gosh.
I'll let her take that.
We definitely fit in more, I think, than we probably should have, because there were so many amazing films that were submitted. This year, the festival got about 80 submissions, and we selected half of them, so 40 films, and about half of those, 20 of them are world premieres, so we're really excited about that as well.
So what does the world premiere mean?
So world premiere means that they've never screened at a festival before. So that means that this is the first time that an audience is going to sit down in a theater and really actually get to see their film. So some of them may have actually had it on, Vimeo or something like that online, but this is the first time where an audience is going to sit down, enjoy it, and really just get to experience the film on the big screen.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
That's what's special about it. It's the big screen, because everyone can watch it on their computer and stuff. But when you're surrounded with 500 people and you're each breathing the same breath, it's pretty much amazing.
Yeah.
That's.
I imagine the films vary wildly too, as far as from what they're talking about within the surf world, because there's so much going on.
Oh, definitely, yeah. So besides them being from different places around the world, which that changes the story dramatically in itself, there's the geography of the places that are so much different. Then there's some of it is just people just having a good time in the water and insane waves and just ripping and slashing and all that. But then most of them are amazing stories that actually get you involved and you actually understand what either that surf community is going through, or just even what that wave is like. And so there's a lot of amazing films and people making films, so we're excited to feature them.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a perfect segue here for our producer, who's, did you get makeup?
I did. Did you? Guilty. I did. How does it look?
It looks good. Yeah, you look
keep
better
it
than
going?
normal. That's why I was like,
Thank
you
you.
must have got makeup.
Thank you. Thank you. Take that as a compliment. Thank you.
So it's Never Falling
Never Falling
is what it's called.
Yes, it features Frank Solomon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen that. We've seen the teaser on this show. Some people have seen it on Facebook. But the world premiere will be at the film festival.
Yes, it will.
On the big screen.
The big screen.
We'll all be there, obviously, to support that.
Thank you for the support. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I remember when you first, you're like, okay, Frank Solomon, he's this big wave surfer, he broke his back, I'm going to go do a story. And I was like, oh, sounds cool. Sounds interesting. Yeah. I like to hear what the guy has to say. Then I saw it, and I was just like, wow, this is really good.
Thank you.
This is a really good story, really well shot, really well put together, and the message is really good.
Agreed.
At the end of the day, it wraps up with this great message of just getting back on the horse.
Yeah.
And that's a big part, I think, of surfing in general, or the surf life, the surf community, right? You're gonna fall. That's part of it. There's nobody goes out there and surfs every wave perfectly. But sometimes something really bad can happen, especially if you're a crazy big wave surfer like Frank Solomon.
Yeah.
You could break your back in a foreign country and then climb an 800-foot cliff.
Yeah.
To get back to safety somehow.
Yep.
With a broken back.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
It's mind-blowing.
It's unbelievable that he made it. I mean, most people would have just, been vulture food there on the cliff.
Yeah.
So you were able to get all that in the film, and now it's going to be debuting at the festival. I mean, what, as a filmmaker, that's as good as it gets, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's my first appearance, so thank you guys. Appreciate
You're very
it.
welcome. Well deserved.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just really exciting. I've always dreamt about it, but to actually have it come to reality is really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, huh?
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's cool for me to see. I know there's more coming too.
Definitely,
we've got stuff planned, and there's more things going on. So, is the film festival is it a once a year production?
It's a once a year thing, but my wife and I have been doing events throughout the year, so that's why we have our own place. We got a venue down in La Jolla, Misfit Pictures HQ on Pearl Street, and we actually are going to start a second film festival. We did last year. We kind of just introed it. It's called Action Film Festival, Action International Film Festival, where we highlight films sort of the same thing, but more in the action sports world, but they really have to have a solid core meaning. So we pretty much just do events all year round, but the festival's one. We're just going to keep adding festivals, I think, is we're kind of event, party planners and things like that. So
I was going to say, it's already to 11 days.
Yeah.
So you can't really grow it too much further
yeah,
than
but
that
it's
in
like
one
right
swoop, right?
Exactly. But right when it's done, you just have such a crash. So it's like I just want to keep adding things and just keep going and keep going. So
yeah. So possibly there could be maybe 2 a year.
there could be.
I think that would be a really cool idea.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's not bad. All right.
Yeah, I like
this
it.
guy.
Yeah.
Maybe a winter and a summer.
Well, that's
version.
what we do. We do the surf film festival in the spring, and then we're going to do the action sports one in more like the fall. So we're trying to bookend those. But yeah, we're going to just keep popping in different events as we go along, because there's just so much creativity in this town that it's hard to hide it, to be honest with you. So we're excited to promote anything and everything that we can.
Yeah, it's really cool how much good stuff there is that's out there.
Yeah.
And to have a place for it to land.
Exactly.
A respectable place for it to land where people are going to be able to go and see it. Now, what do I need to do to go to the festival? I mean, what is it rocket science, or do I just need to go to a website and buy tickets?
It's
super easy.
Very easy. You go to www.sandiegossurfilmfestival.com and everything's there. The whole schedule, all the tickets, and all the films too. So if you want to if you don't know what a film is about, you can look up the synopsis, figure out exactly what block it's playing at, what venue it's playing at, and
So are the venues sort of all over San Diego?
all pretty much in La Jolla. So all in the La Jolla area. We have the UCSD Price Center Theater, our place, Misfit Pictures headquarters on Pearl Street, and then the Museum of Contemporary Art as well in La Jolla.
Oh yeah, I love that place.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to see one film in particular, like Jade's film,
Yes.
you could go find it on the schedule and say, okay,
Yeah.
it's going to be here at this time.
Yep.
Exactly. You go look up films, find his, and it'll give you exactly the times, plays, and everything, and where, and all the
Do you
information.
get to Q&A at all with the filmmakers, or do they sort of come up and say, hey, this is my film, this is why I made it, or how does that work?
Well, I can say honestly, that's my favorite part of the festival. Like we have, as she says, 40 40 films coming, 20 premieres, but we have 21 filmmakers coming from all over the world. So, like this fine young man himself. So it's really cool to be able to ask any question you want from the film. I mean, usually every film I walk away with, I always have a couple questions, whether it's just just how they shot it or whatever. So to be able to just chat with the person who made it is just such a bonus. It just ties everything together, I think.
Cool. So that's a regular part of the.
Yeah, that's kind of what people save their films to play it at our festival, so they can come, and show it. Like we've kind of dug out a unique niche in our just what we do. Like we just bring the community right with the artist. That's what we're trying to do instead of separate them. It's just, they'll be sitting here. It's just how it is.
Hanging out.
Yeah, we love it.
That's awesome.
It's really comfortable, so
That's
people
really
appreciate it.
Well, I'll be there.
I'll be
Very
there.
good. Cool.
Yay.
That's for sure.
We have to be there.
You guys will be there. Everyone in this room will be here, I'm sure, at some point.
Perfect.
Thank you guys so much for coming on the show and for doing such a good thing for the San
Thank you.
Diego community, for the surf community, for the filmmaker community. It really is awesome. Thank you guys so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Jade, great job, my man.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Commercial free.
Now it's time for Building San Diego. Our next guests are here to talk about one of the newest developments in Chula Vista called Monterey Place. Please welcome from Benin Deville Homes, Alex Wilson and Rosemary Snow.
Welcome to the show. What's up, y'all?
How you doing?
Great. We're happy to be here.
Yeah. There's a new development, Monterey Place in Chula Vista, that you guys are doing marketing for and selling for. And I think what's really cool about Building San Diego is we're talking about all these places, before they're completed, not just afterwards. So we're letting people know, hey, here's what's going on. These things are going to be coming up. Tell us what people in Chula Vista might want to know about Monterey Place.
Monterey Place is new home community, 23 homes in a cul-de-sac. It's right off the freeway off the 805 and L Street. So it's an easy commute either from the 805 or the 5. We'll have 2 different floor plans. There hasn't been any new construction over the last 2 years on that side of the freeway.
I was going to say, that's good for that area, right? It kind of needs that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of focus, obviously, in the Otay Ranch area, and now we're going west of the 805, and so we have that access on the 805. It's just unrivaled. You don't have to sit in the Otay Ranch traffic, that's for sure.
That's
anybody that lives there knows about that stuff.
Yeah. What is this main street that takes you across Chula Vista to East Lake? It's like
it's Telegraph Canyon.
Telegraph Canyon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it turns into Otay.
Turns into Otay. That's what it is.
That's
okay.
it, yeah.
So I've been talking to some homeowners in Chula Vista recently in a casting call that we're doing for our reality show, Win This Listing. And a lot of them have said, because people have always said, East Lake, it's amazing, everything's new, go to East Lake, it's beautiful. People now are starting to say things like, I don't want to be all the way out in East Lake. I don't want that extra 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever on my drive. So if this is right off the 805, that's huge to begin with.
Absolutely. I mean, we're approximately 4 miles from the Pacific Ocean. We anticipate some of our homes might have views from the second stories, which will be awesome. And we're 12 minutes from downtown, approximately 12 minutes to the U.S.-Mexico border. I love going to Mexico, so that's important to me. So I think it's probably important to our buyer demographic as well.
Okay. Well, who would that be? Who's gonna want to buy in Monterey Place?
Well, we've already had our signage up for the last month, and we've had great response. People that live in the area, mothers and fathers looking for their kids. They want to keep their kids in the same neighborhood as they do. There's lots of elementary schools, junior high schools. There's a high school. So growing families with maybe, we have an in-law suite on the first level of all the homes. They have a full bedroom and bathroom. So multi-generational, if they want to bring the mother-in-law or, additional family member. So they're excited because it's big square footage for
What
the
about the
area.
father-in-law?
I was going to say, or
some
both.
people-
Hopefully they're both still around.
Yeah.
So, and they're just, because none of these homes are finished yet, right?
First date should be done by the end of August, early September.
Okay, and so if this is something that you'd like to be involved in, well, let's talk about this first. So there's 2 different plans, right? Mm-hmm. Can we talk about those 2 different plans and then like what the expected price ranges are going to be?
Okay, yeah. So plan 1 is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home, approximately 1,700 square feet. Our lots are 5,000 square foot lots, so solid front and backyard space, unlike the competition throughout San Diego. Then we have a larger home. That's the plan 2, 5-bed, 3-bath. Again, that's going to be around 1,900 square feet on 5,000 square foot lot. So your own driveway, your own 2-car garage, tankless water heaters, plumb for solar, brand new modern appliances. So
fresh and clean.
Fresh and clean. New home smell. Yeah.
No, so there's the first 8 homes. So this is going to be done in phases. Mm-hmm. Typically with new developments, buying the first phase is the smart thing to do. That's just historically, let's say nationally speaking, the smart thing to do is buy in the first phase because usually prices go up a little bit as the phases. Is that going to be the case here?
Well, it'll be the case because the first homes will be in the front of the cul-de-sac, so those will start about $499. But as Alex said, as we go down the cul-de-sac, it elevates, so some of those homes in the back will most likely have views of the ocean.
And looking back at downtown as well, it's a beautiful site.
So they start at $499.
Approximately, yeah. We're giving a range right now. We're taking reservations, so if you want to come down and look at a lot, we can do that with you, and that's certainly an option.
They'll probably pour the slabs in the next few weeks, and then the actual structures go up in June.
Okay. Yeah, so
there'll be more to look
price
at.
It now.
Yeah, it's a little early for that.
Yeah.
But you'll still like sticks in June, like she said. We'll start seeing the sticks come out of the ground, as we say.
The other thing, yeah, right.
Yeah.
The other thing and none of these are basement homes, right? These are all 2-story.
2-story, yeah.
So one of the things too with new construction, which we don't have very much of in San Diego, people just aren't used to it. They're used to buying a home that's 30 years old and considering it, hey, this is practically brand new here. Yeah. But these are brand new homes. So how much of an effect could I have if I wanted to buy one of these homes today and I said, hey, listen, I want the first one. Mm-hmm. I love the area. Give me the first house that's finished. Can I pick my finishes? Can I do some of these, can I have any say in any of that stuff?
You absolutely can. We have standard finishes, and then we have our developer has an interior designer. You can go in and select your flooring, throughout the homes, different cabinets in the kitchen, countertops, if you want to upgrade your appliances. We can certainly do that right now.
Okay, cool. So I think that for a lot of people, the opportunity for new construction, they don't really kind of understand what some of those opportunities are. I think buying the first phase is a really good idea. Just historically speaking, it's been a really good idea from an investment standpoint. Because as you sell those other units, the price per square foot in the area goes up, and as long as you're at the get-in, then you're always going to be in a good spot. And then picking your finishes is something that's really nice. I mean, I've done it before. I bought a new house once, and so it was awesome. Like that was so much fun. Just it sounds silly, it really does. But I mean, doorknobs and cabinets and stuff. It sounds silly, but it really does allow you to make it yours.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, it's like customizing a car or something.
Yeah,
for sure.
I wouldn't think of that.
It really is. And sometimes, and I don't know how flexible it is, but in some cases you can say, can we make this closet a little bigger? Can we steal a little room from over here and make this closet a little bigger? Sometimes you can do stuff like that and say, sure, it's $1,000 or whatever, and there you go. Now you've almost customized your home for you. But you've got a new construction home that you get to live in, which people in San Diego just don't get that opportunity.
And we can do that with our second story because there's either 4 bedrooms or you can have 3 bedrooms and a den. Yeah. So if you want us to remove that bedroom, we take out the closets, and then you can do built-in cabinets like it's a rumpus room for your kids or a library or an office. So there is, when you pick your lot ahead and your unit, then you have the ability to do that.
Extra flexibility.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess right at this point, so you would need to, so what are the steps? I'm interested and I want to learn more. I want to look at, the lots. How do I do that?
Well, you can certainly set up a meeting with Rosemary and I. Feel free to visit our website, MontereyPlaceHomes.com as well. And then we go ahead and, get you a meeting with our preferred lender. and get your credit cleaned up, things like that, and then it's $5,000 to reserve a lot.
Okay, so for $5,000 deposit,
Yep.
that goes in escrow.
Fully
I'm assuming.
refundable deposit as well. So
Yeah.
should you decide to walk, you can do that.
Yeah, right. So you just put $5,000 and that goes towards your closing costs in the transaction, and that essentially will reserve you that spot.
That's correct.
That sounds so easy.
Yeah.
It is easy.
Back these homes are affordable and they're brand new.
That's
And they're in a good location.
I know, and they sound really nice.
I know, it's crazy. Well, it's just I'm so used to, and bless all the people in Carlsbad and some of these places, but I'm just so used to leaving. $750. That house was $750.
Easy. Yeah.
And just going, man. So the fact that there's new construction, affordable new construction in a really good location, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and if you go just check out other new home developments within San Diego County, as you mentioned, it's pretty limited. But you go there and you're sharing, like, multiple houses share a driveway, things like that. So in our case, having your own driveway, especially on a cul-de-sac too, we're gonna have a small pocket park with picnic tables as well. We have no Mello-Roos fees. I mean,
Nice.
That's huge.
the fire station is a block away should you have a medical emergency. And as Rosemary said, we have tons of schools surrounding us. So yeah, it's a unique area. We're excited about
It's
it.
legit.
Yeah, it's
Great
for sure
stuff.
legit.
Thank you guys so much for coming on today. Really appreciate your time
Thank
and
you.
insight.
Thanks for having us.
It's great
Thanks for
stuff.
having
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
Our next guest is none other than board-certified tax attorney Badass. Please welcome Jeffrey B. Kahn.
There he is. Texas are badass to see you here. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, nice to be on the show. It's been a while.
I feel like it's been forever.
Yeah.
But tax season is tax
Yeah, I was going to say, he's
season.
been a busy man.
Yeah, it's like, that's...
That's right.
I mean, this time of year, people, lock themselves in places so that they can get their taxes done. They wait to the last second. It happens every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's, but now that's over, right? So we're past April 15th. It's been a couple weeks. So now we're at that kind of doldrum moment where, taxes, I did my taxes. Whatever frustrations I had, I did it. It's over with. I'll worry about it again next year.
Right.
Jeff, isn't this the perfect time, though, to really look at what you just filed and
agree.
say, is there something I could do differently this year? Because you still have some time to actually do something different.
You have a lot of time, and especially now that the pain is so fresh. You just had your return done. You have to write a big check to IRS, or perhaps you already wrote it or trying to deal with it. It's like, didn't you learn your lesson? Do you really want to go through that again? Let's do planning. Like you said, we still have over half a year left. There's a lot of things that you can do, especially if you're a business owner. There's a lot of planning that can be done versus where you're an employee, you're working for somebody, you have your salary. Don't have as much flexibility there as if you're a business owner.
So if you own your own business, you work for yourself, or you're, let's say, a contractor of some sort, then there's a lot you can do in these last 6-7 months.
That's right. That's right.
To change what the next tax bill looks like.
Exactly.
And there's a myriad of things that you can do, obviously, from saving money for yourself to just sort of looking at what you're deducting and maybe did you miss some deductions potentially?
Correct. Yeah.
Things like that you can find that, it's too late or I didn't keep track of it. Oh, shoot, I didn't realize I could deduct that. There's a bunch of stuff there. It's money people are just leaving on the table, man.
Correct. And one of the things, too, by going through this exercise now is perhaps I can find stuff that you missed out on your prior year's returns that it would make sense to file an amended return and maybe get some money back.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess that's true. If you have the ability to, some of that stuff, you can go back. How many years? 2-3 years you can go back?
For benefit of an overpayment, 2 years.
2 years?
So, I mean, heck, 2 years. File amended returns, get some money back from the government.
Yeah, look for the last 2 years and see what you see.
That's right.
And if there's not enough there, let's say it's $1,000 or something, you say, all right, well, moving forward next year, these are the things we want to do. We're going to keep track of your meetings, we're going to keep track of your miles, we're going to keep track of these things so that we can make sure you get the most money.
Exactly.
A lot of people, like Rebecca, filed an extension. So they didn't exactly get the release that the rest of us did in filing our taxes, on April 15th or before. So now they've kicked it down to October. What's the smartest thing for someone to do? I mean, first of all, is that a last resort situation? Should people not do that unless they absolutely have to?
Well, the extension is an extension of time to file, not an extension of time to pay. So a lot of people will feel, okay, I'm not ready for the April 15th, this year, the April 18th deadline to file, so I'm going to go on an extension. I'm not paying anything with the extension, and a lot of people feel that, okay, I'm safe now to October 15th or October 17th, whatever. The case is, you're only safe from saving on the penalty for filing late. But if it turns out you're going to be filing a return and there's going to be a balance due on that, the IRS is going to assess a penalty on that. And that's like 5% per month.
Yeah, it's
that you're paying late. And it can be up to 25%. So now you've just made your tax bill a whole lot bigger because you didn't include a payment with your extension. And so your headache's going to be a lot bigger when it comes time to file that return. And guess what? Now you're paying a premium for filing a tax return later than April 15th that's got a balance due.
So if you know you're going to owe money, then you should include a check with that extension.
Yeah. And if you're in that situation where you didn't include a check with that extension, maybe it's a good idea to start prepaying that liability now, just so you're reducing that late payment penalty, which, as I said, increases 5% per month.
Yeah. So and it compounds itself.
Yep. Plus you got the interest on top of that.
Plus you got the interest.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is I should really knuckle down and get my taxes done as soon as possible.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, because you don't have to wait until October 15th to file, right? That's just the deadline for the extension. You could file a month late, 2 months late, and then that could shorten that window too.
Right.
Because there are some people out there who probably don't know. Am I going to owe? Am I going to have a refund?
I don't know.
You don't know. So you probably aren't going to owe that much.
No.
So the penalty wouldn't be that significant. But for a lot of people, they know they're going to owe. They know they're going to owe.
And they know they're going to owe
a lot.
Quite a chunk.
That's right. And until that return gets filed, whether you file it October 17th or you file it in May, the IRS is not going to know how much you owe the IRS until you file that tax return.
So they won't know how much to penalize you.
That's right.
Until you send them the information, which is crazy. So in the case that someone has filed for an extension, is it too late to do? What's the smartest next step? Okay, I filed for an extension. Is there a good smart next step, or is it just get that thing filed as soon as you can?
The good next step would be get your tax return done. And of course, if you're going to owe money, let's address how that's going to be paid, unless you have the ability that you could just write a check to the government and be done with it. If that's the case, you don't need my help for the past, except what can I find out for the future so you're paying less, and if maybe there was something that got missed in the past that I could lower that liability.
I wonder about this, Jeff. If there's somebody who, they own a business, let's say, and let's say they have a really good year. Maybe they had a bad year the year before, an okay year the year before that. They had a really good year, they're going to owe a lot of money. You can go back the last 2 years, look and see if there's any credits to extract from that to help cover the liability for the current year, right? Because if you get a credit for those years, don't they offset, essentially?
Yes, it can be an offset, or it can be where you get the refund first, and now you turn around and you'll be writing a check to the IRS for 2015.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I had never thought about that before. Listening to your radio show recently, as I do anytime I can, Fridays 2 to 3 p.m. ESPN 1700 with Windus Fernandez, your co-host. Amazing show that you guys do. Extremely informative, well laid out. And of course, your blog I've been bragging about for forever.
Yes.
At the contactslaw.com website, where you blog about stuff that's real, that involves tax issues, things that are happening in the news, things that people can learn from. You've been screaming at the top of your lungs for a long time now about people with undisclosed foreign bank accounts and how much they're going to get bid on this, how much of a window there is for them to still get away with it, essentially, or at least to be able to come forward, not be caught, come forward and say I have these things, and you can really get some leniency for people, and you've done a great job of that. But I was hearing you talk about the Panama Papers.
Yeah.
Mine got blown. I got all swirled up, and I had to get out of the car. What is the Panama Papers, and what's going on there?
Well, basically, there's a law firm in Panama, Mossack Fonseca, and they've been doing this for about 40 years, assisting U.S. taxpayers as well as taxpayers in other countries on how they can essentially, the IRS calls it evade taxes, evade U.S. taxes. Okay, of course they don't call it that. They're, providing advice and guidance to their clients for tax planning, but IRS says no. You guys have been involved in tax evasion and assisting your clients to evade taxes from their home countries. In many ways, how the IRS alleged a lot of Swiss bankers have been helping out U.S. taxpayers to achieve that goal. And so there essentially was a leak of like 2.6 terabytes of data, of documents that the IRS has got a hold of, and it names so many people, well-known politicians, celebrities, and I'm sure a lot of other people who don't even have any notoriety, except that they've at some point had communications with this firm, and this firm would have done some planning for him, maybe set up some offshore entities and stuff like that. And it's just absolutely crazy how a lot of people now have been tied up with this law firm. And don't get me wrong, just because maybe you communicated with this law firm doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't mean that you broke the law or anything like that. But you know what they say, when you harvest a basket of apples and you've got some bad apples in there, you're kind of judged, to the same quality of those bad apples.
Yeah, it's very normal for that to happen, especially in law, especially with the government and law. I mean, if you are associated with it, you're going to be investigated.
That's right.
That's what's going to happen. You're going to be investigated. So, man, 2.6 terabytes, I wouldn't call that a leak. That's like a fire hose.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Really?
Millions of documents. And the whole point is, if you do have undisclosed foreign bank accounts, it's best to be proactive, come forward in one of the voluntary disclosure programs that the IRS has put out. And there's different kinds, so it depends on your situation. But if you're targeted for investigation, or even randomly you're selected for an audit, the IRS doesn't even know you have foreign bank accounts, you cannot get into one of these programs. So it's huge. It's huge. And the more that the IRS can show that you knew what you were doing and getting involved with like a foreign law firm and getting involved in foreign entities, the more likely the IRS will lock you out of the most favorable programs for taxpayers to come forward. And then you're kind of left with going in a program that's not as favorable, still keep you out of jail, still keep you away from the maximum penalties, but you're paying a higher price.
Simply not as good. It's great stuff, great information. Jeff, great to see you again, my friend.
Same here.
All
Thanks.
right. Thank you so much. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
Our next guest is known as the breakdancing realtor, and for a good reason. Please welcome back our Chula Vista expert, Anthony Manzon.
Oh, this is get it on right here. I would love to break dance with you, but I can't do it.
That was pretty good.
That was as good as it gets.
I thought you were a real robot for a second.
Thanks for coming back on the show, man. It's great to have you, as usual. Last time we covered some great topics. The time before that, great topics. Huge promotion there. Today is about how to select an agent. Really crucial, especially this time of year in your home market of Chula Vista. I talk to homeowners every day because we're in the midst of a casting call for Win This Listing. And been talking to some people down there. And you mentioned it before. There's a really short sweet spot window where you can really have your cake and eat it too. List your property. But I think what is challenging about the Chula Vista marketplace is that for homeowners, that there's so many agents in that marketplace, right? There's a lot of transactions. If I was an agent, I can understand why you want to be there. There's a lot of transactions. The price point's decent, but there's a lot of people who couldn't afford to buy in that area. So the question is, how do you begin in the selection process? We know you've had almost instant, stardom in the San Diego real estate community because you guys work so hard. You differentiate in so many different ways. You're young and you're Your energy is felt, your passion is felt by everyone who's around you. So it's no wonder why you guys have been successful. But for the average homeowner, how do they figure out who to go to?
You know, that's the reason why I really wanted to talk about that today, is because I felt like in today's market, so many people are, like, this is the time of the market where a lot of people are starting to list their properties. And one of my favorite sayings is, you don't know what you don't know. And just because somebody has a license doesn't mean they're the right person for the job, especially matched up for the goals, your goals, you know, as a home seller. So, you know, I categorize it in a way where, you know, 3 things you really want to look at when you're picking your listing agent. Number 1 is look at their days on market. You know, every agent has a track record, just like every lawyer has a winning and losing ratio. Not all realtors are the same, even if they're with the same company. So look at their days on market. Compare their average compared to what the average is in the area. So I know that in Chula Vista, the average right now for 2016 so far, so just from January to now, is about 33 days. So if you work with the average agent, your property should sell in about 33 days. Whether or not that's the speed you want to get your home sold, that could be the right agent for you. I know for my team, our average days on market is 16 days. So when we get properties listed, we're about on market half the amount of time as the average agent. So first thing you want to look at is days on market. The second thing is you want to look at is your sales to list price. So what that means is basically whatever that agent is listing their property at, what is the overall outcome of the sales price? So, you know, the agent might list at $500,000, but if on average every home sale they're selling at $490,000, that's just showing that their average sales price is 98%. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you want to pick, you know, what is a good sales to list price? I know my team, our average list price, this isn't to brag, but you know, the results are there. Yeah. We sell on average at 101%. Yes. Yeah, so whatever we're listing at, and this is based on all of our sales for 2016. So whatever we list a home at, we're on average selling at 3% higher than the average agent. And why? Because our system works. It worked for every home seller that we worked with last year. I mean, some were higher than others, but on average it was 101%.
Well, let me, so 3% higher. Mm-hmm. So you're saying that the market average is 98%?
Correct.
List? And I would say it's even a little less than that, because that market average is factoring in your 101.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
true.
If you take you against the field, it's actually a little less than that.
Yeah.
So, but let's say it is 3%. You just paid for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The other agents aren't paying for themselves, right? Yeah. You just paid for yourself versus the competition. So that is a huge thing. So days on market, to get a feel for how efficient the agent is. So you would say, hey, what's your average days on market for you versus what's the average days on market for everyone else? Mm-hmm. Look at that. If their average days on market is a lot longer, there might be an explanation. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's one property, that one seller who just, wouldn't take less than $750 and the houses were $650 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's an explanation like that. But these things are averages, so they should work out over time. And if someone has one house that can crush their overall average, maybe that person isn't doing enough business, or maybe they haven't had enough experience in order to be able to actually do that. Mm-hmm. So days on market, I love that one. And list to sale ratio, I'm so glad you brought that up, because there are a lot of agents that don't want to talk about that.
It's an important stat. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. The data is there for a reason. That's the one thing that doesn't lie, is the data. And that's what I think is important. I said those are the 2 things, and then the last thing I think that's important is, not the experience of the agent, because I get that all the time. I'm a young agent, so I know that I don't have this long track record like other agents do. But what bothers me is when agents say they have 10 years, 20 years in the business, and they sell 1 home a year. And, so what I look at more is, what is the experience in today's market? Because, that agent that has, 10 years in the business selling X amount of homes, they were really good at, let's say, a past market, but that's not relevant today anymore. You want to work with an agent that has a proven success record in today's market. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, look
more
at the
about
track.
Total number of transactions and homes sold versus years.
Yeah, exactly. Because look at the total, what's relevant in that neighborhood, and what's relevant to today's market.
That's awesome. So there's your 3 things right there. Yeah. You want to know how to select an agent, you ask them about days on market, their average versus the market average. You ask them about lists to sale ratio, their average versus the market average. You can just see right there. And then, of course, experience being number of reps, what I call reps or repetitions, which is actually facilitating the transaction from start to finish. How many deals have you done? If you've been in the business 2 years and you've done 200 deals, you've been in the business 20 years and you've done 200 deals, you guys are pretty much the same.
I would say the newer ones at a better advantage because they're more relevant, like right now.
Their transactions are more relevant.
You're selling the house right now, not 20 years ago. You know?
Yeah.
That's true. What is nonsense? Let's go to the other side.
Okay.
What matters not at all that people might think actually does matter?
I know I'm going to cause a lot of havoc by saying this, so.
Perfect.
I would say, I'm just going to say it. You know, listing agents, discount brokerages. Just because, you know, they charge, you know, 1%, 1.5% doesn't mean they get the same sales price or the end result as, you know, a full commission agent. You know, no, I'm not going to say that. It's going to cause too much havoc, but I would say it doesn't matter what the agent is charging for the property as long as the end result is there. So let's say, for instance, you know, a discount agent might charge, you know, 3% or 3.5% for the sale of the home, where for me, I'm getting on average 3% more than the average agent. So if we compare it that way, I should be charging 6.5% or 7% to break even with them. Does that make sense? You know, always look at the net. You know, what I talk about with my clients is, at the end of the day, which agent puts more money in your pocket? You know, I like to work with the investment-minded clients, the ones that look at the outcome and not just the upfront pain. Because yeah, if you want to trade the upfront $1 and you're getting $1.50 on your return, that at the very end, at the net, at the end of the sale, that's definitely more important. That will put you at a better situation at the end of the sale, rather than just paying the $1 up front and getting $1 at the end. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense.
So that's my thing.
I like it. I love it.
That's my thing.
It's a breakdancing realtor right there. Anthony Manzon. We'll try to get you to get some moves on the way out today. And I'll add one thing to that because you just mentioned it. Seller net sheet is what it's called. Ask for that.
Yeah.
If someone like Anthony can come in and say, well, this is what I would list your property at. Typically I sell for a little bit more than what I list. Here's what your net would be if that turns out to be the case. Boom, you know pretty much to the penny how much money is going to come into your pocket. If someone can't show you that or doesn't show you that, big red flag in my opinion. Anthony, thanks for your time today, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Smarter San Diego TV. Tune in next week, same time, same channel. We'll see you then.
Hey, great show, guys. That's a wrap. Jade, what's your schedule look like? Do you mind breaking down the set?
Not today, Derek. I'd love to, but there's waves out there. I gotta go. Angela? Nikki?
Yeah, I gotta go beat traffic. And I think Nikki's making something up there.
Oh, look at this. We did this. We did all of this.